Breaking the wall to science engagement for all kids. Laura Henderson, Frontiers for Young Minds, Switzerland.
How do we navigate the global threats we face? How do we see and feel them now, from climate change to health emergencies? And how can we reverse them? We're going to need our children's critical thinking, their leadership tomorrow. Now, at Frontiers, we want to make all scientific knowledge open to everybody. Greater collective knowledge will drive stronger consensus for action. And our children will build that consensus with their critical thinking as tomorrow's leaders. But the science they need to understand isn't written for kids. It isn't even written for adults who aren't scientists. Take a look at this paper for me. Hands, please. Who here would be looking forward to reading it? And be honest. We all know how it's created. Scientists writing for scientists. Often kids perceive them as in ivory towers that are not for normal people. And this perception sticks into adulthood. So how can we break down those barriers to show kids that science is for them too? How can we give them that revelation? How can we engage them directly so that they later become the good citizens, scientists and leaders that we need tomorrow? To solve this problem, we created Frontiers for Young Minds. Now here is our version of the same article. Now who wants to read it? So we create short, fully open access articles across all broad areas of science, from neuroscience and psychology to biodiversity, from astronomy and physics to earth sciences. All of our articles are fully online, free to read and reuse, and available to anyone with access to the internet. But more than open access, we give intellectual access. We make all of our science clear and engaging for kids to inspire them to gain the understanding that they need. And then we go further. In our unique process, our high-quality science is for kids, edited by kids. Our global young readers are also our peer reviewers. They are peers of the audience. So, these young students work with us to peer review every article we publish. Here's an example of a trio published and reviewed by 3 classes in the same school. And they work with us to ensure that every article is clear and accessible for their peers aged 8 to 15. Now, there we go. So they get to work directly with science mentors who sit on our editorial board and who coach these young reviewers on the science in the article. And then they produce from that their peer review report. Now, these can be a school class, they can be a homework group, they can be a club that the science mentors' nieces and nephews are a part of. But whoever they are, they then receive direct responses to their feedback. Our authors submit detailed comments and explanations, and they must make all edits requested to their paper. In this way, our young reviewers directly shape the final article. Nothing is published until they are satisfied. And so it is that this scalable and accessible peer review is directly and powerfully connecting our young people with the research and with the researchers. Our kids are setting the terms on which they and others their age are told about science. They are sharing the revelation that science can be accessible for all. Now, our global online journal has a truly worldwide footprint. We've published well over 1,000 original articles online, which have been viewed and downloaded 28 million times from 230 countries. We're multilingual. We have languages, channels that are ever growing, including Hebrew and Arabic, with Chinese and French to come soon, and the next on our list is Spanish. We work with young reviewers in over 60 countries, truly global representation. And with an average of over 25,000 views and downloads per article published, we are truly enabling researchers to break out of silos and inspire the young leaders of tomorrow. And the success of our journal has brought us some surprises. We are now engaging the best and brightest minds in their fields to work with us. We're proud to include 10 Nobel Prize winners who are joining us to get on a level with kids and inspire them directly. May-Britt Moser, the winner of the 2014 Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine, articulated our mission perfectly when she said, "Children are born curious, with passion for questions and with light in their eyes. I hope the papers in this journal may help nurture and reinforce children's passion and curiosity for science. What a gift to humanity that would be." Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And we have the first questions coming in. Yeah.
How are the children impacting the science?
Excellent question. So the children are also feeding back to us about questions that they have via their science mentors, but the science articles are originally written by top researchers who we are actually inviting to participate either in article collections or in individual articles that we are commissioning. The children are shaping the science in the peer review also by making sure that they ask the right questions, making sure that the context of the research is clear, making sure that the full explanations are available to others their age.
So they're actually designing the research or they're designing the article?
They're designing the article.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have the first question or questions from the audience. Wait, can you wait for the mic 1 sec? It's behind you. Yes.
Hi. Can you rework all the papers or only the ones who are already open access? How does that work policy-wise?
Good question. Yes, we can actually republish any article. Generally speaking, it's the same author who will re-engage with us. So it will be someone who has published either an original article, which we would publish as something we call a new discovery article, or if they want to make a review, a sort of state of the art of the field, rather than a review paper in a typical journal, they would publish with us something called a core concept article. So the references are always given in full at the end of every article to the original research published elsewhere. And usually, as I said, it's one or a whole group of the same authors who engage with us to rewrite their work.
And a question right next to it.
Yeah, so how long does this process take for the peer review to occur by kids?
It's a good question. How long is a piece of string? As the saying goes in English. Generally, it's a couple of months or so. Because the science mentors work directly with the children locally, it can be dependent on when they can arrange to, for example, visit the school or have time in the classroom. So there is that dependency time-wise, but generally it's quite quick. And once the peer review reports are uploaded on our interactive platform, the authors' comments come very quickly. The authors are excited and engaged by this process, being able to communicate directly with these young people.
And Brooke, there's a question.
Thank you. What do you know about the scientists who are sharing their articles and how they are personally impacted from being part of this process?
Excellent question again. So the scientists who work with us, of course, they all have a keenness to communicate beyond their research community. And we have a lot of feedback from them at the end of the peer review process. Particularly, they tend to feed back to us, to the editorial team I work with, a small team. For example, I can quote a tweet for you. We had a lot of social media engagement. "Hands down, the most fun peer review ever." But another one who said, "People always complain about getting their paper reviewed, about the mythical reviewer 3. I can say they've never had a kid review their paper." So if you can get these kids to say yes, you can communicate to anybody. And that's actually a gift to teach scientists to communicate outside their community.
Thank you, Laura.